Welcome to pattern making class. This is Annette Julie, and we are continuing on with our torso that is going to be contoured. Now I do have to make a correction from the last video. I was getting a little bit tired, so I made the bust mound from the end of this dart tip, and that's not correct. I needed to make it from the apex. So I erased it, and I went ahead and I put this lined up with my apex. And then I made my circle, which is the bust mound from the apex, which is always how we do that. Okay. So now we have our bust mound for the apex, and we can work with that. That looks really good. And we're going to start making some corrections to make this into a contour block. And what are we going to do once we have this as a contour? Well, you could use this to make a bustier, a strapless garment, a garment that is backless, but it definitely contours and forms to the body, and that's what we use it for. So let's start by making a few lines here that are going to all go directly to the apex. We're going to start mid neckline. You may measure it or eyeball it, pick the mid position, and draw a line to the apex. Then we're going to take the shoulder. You're going to divide that in half. This shoulder is about 5 1/4, so half is about 2 5/8. Please mark that line on the shoulder and draw it to the apex. A lot of stuff's going to radiate from the apex there. Now we're on the low point of the shoulder in the front, and I'm going to connect a line to the apex. So I've got 1, 2, 3 contour lines so far. I'm rotating the pattern. As you see, it's upside down now. Now where I have the notch in the armhole, I'm going to connect that to the apex. Now we're going to come here to the center front, and where we have our apex and our bust level, I'm going to draw a line that comes right out to my center front, and I'm going to go above and below 3/8 of an inch at my center front, and connect those lines back to the apex. Looks good. Now, with the dart that's closest to the center front, we're going to connect that up to the apex too. We're going to make a larger contoured dart. So I'm going to get the apex and draw a line right down the middle of that dart. Then I'm going to take my hip curve and I'm going to extend the dart. Here's the natural waistline down here. There it is. I'm going to extend this tip up to the apex, and I'm also going to curve the dart slightly out. And whenever I make something that I'm not totally sure how it's going to come out, you better believe I'm picking up my pencil. And most of the time I'm pattern making in pen so my students can see the pattern. So I've done a bit of a contour. We're going to flip it. I'm going to use this from the same measurement going up to the apex, and we're going to look and see if we like this. Oh, this looks pretty good. Look, we're here and here now. Here and here. Yeah, definitely like how that looks. Let me go ahead and confirm that with my pen. So I'm going from 16, looks like up to almost 9 3/8, and I'm going to use the same curve on the opposite side. That looks great. We can do a few more things here. Okay, but this is the start. Now, in the middle of the shoulder, we're going to go down 1/4 of an inch and mark it. And bring lines back up to the high point and the low point. And this is going to be a contour point that we're talking about right there on the shoulder. Also, as that line comes down from the shoulder to the apex, we're going to go out on either side 3/8 of an inch to make another contour area. But these lines are not going to go all the way to the shoulder. They're just going to start from the bust radius and go down to the apex. Out on either side of that line, 3/8 and 3/8. Okay, so we're going to add a few more details to this. On this line that's closest to the center front, I'm going to go towards the center front 1/4. Connect this back to 0 or nothing at the shoulder, as well as 0 or nothing at the apex. Now we have a lot going on here, and I'm going to try to start giving these the numbers that we can associate with them. Okay? So over here, the one that goes into the next line, this is number 1. And here where we dip down the shoulder, this is going to be number 6. And at the low point of the shoulder, we're at number 2. And at the mid armhole, we're going to call that 3. And this long contoured dart, the one that's closest to the center front, we're going to call this one 4. And then at the center front where we went out 3/8 above and below, this is going to be our number 5. We already have 6 up there at the shoulder. Okie dokie, and I feel like that's pretty good for now, but I would like to also take in our side seam. We're going to remove some of the ease to make this contoured. We're going to go in on the side seam 1/2 an inch. And that's going to also be there in the back. So if I wanted to, I could go ahead and mark that in 1/2 an inch on the back as well. But I can't just draw a straight line down here to the waist. I actually have to fold the dart. So let me extend the waist position to the side seam. And let me fold the dart from a series of long legs that point all the way to the apex. I'm going to fold across the apex. And now I have those long legs that extend past the side bust dart tip. These legs go nice and long. And I'm going to crease the lower leg here. And I'm going to bring it up and place it on the leg that is up higher. And I'm folding and closing that dart. You can always take a piece of tape, put it on the back of your hand and make it magic tape. Pop it down there, then it'll come off with no problem. And let's take out the ease out of the side seam. This is from a 1/2 inch down to 0 here at the waist. And you can use a tracing wheel through here, But I'm not on my pattern making table because I'm videoing, so I better just fold it so I don't put too many holes in my kitchen table. Let me go ahead and open that back up. And I can draw the rest of the line. I can see how it was folded. That looks good. So I think one other thing that we could do is, you know, take a moment, take a look at this. We've done all the corrections I think that we have here. I think I'm going to move on to the back, and I'm going to take this line here where I went down that 1/4 inch in the middle. I'm going to do the same thing on the back shoulder. From where the high point of the shoulder is now, you want to go down 1/4 inch where the dart legs are. So high point down 1/4 inch. Okay. We've brought that down parallel. And that's going to coordinate with the front. Now we're also going to do the correction that we did to the front, which is to take the side seam in. So I'm going to mark where my waist level is here. And I'm going to bring the side seam in 1/2 inch to 0 at the waist. Now we can go ahead and bring the darts up to the horizontal balance line. And let me draw an HBL, a horizontal balance line, here in the back. And I went ahead and I drew that about 3/4 inch above that notch. And from the center back, let's see, I went down about 5 3/4. Now we're going to take the torso darts in the back, draw the middle of them. Torso darts in the back, draw the middle and extend them all the way up to that HBL. So this would be making a very fitted back. Now we're going to bring the dart legs up to that horizontal balance line as well. And this is from the waist up. We've extended and brought those darts all the way up to that horizontal balance line there in the back. And I believe at this point, we're going to call this number 7. And I think we might be finished with our contour torso draft. This is Annette Julie, and I look forward to seeing you in one of my next videos.